Departing Chelsea director Marina Granovskaia was the most powerful woman in football and ran Blues with Abramovich away. Departing Chelsea director Marina Granovskaia left her legacy at the Blues. The most powerful woman in football is leaving Stamford Bridge with a £20 million golden handshake, with new owner Todd Boehly taking control of transfers. However, her importance in recruitment and rubber-stamping deals for stars cannot be underestimated. The 47-year-old was said to be instrumental in the club hiring Thomas Tuchel, rubber-stamping his deal. While before that, she sealed Frank Lampard's return to the West London Giants with his £5.5 million per year contract. Over the years, she's been center stage at every contract renewal or new signing unveiling. Her importance in the Blues hierarchy should never be underestimated. It was with Roman's money where Granovskaia was trusted the most, although Boehly clearly has other plans. From Kevin De Bruyne to Mohamed Salah, the Chelsea owner rarely came off best when it came to selling his players, getting pitiful amounts for players that went on to become superstars. That was until the Russian deputized to the woman who makes all the big decisions at the club now. Her sale of star man Eden Hazard to Real Madrid was so incredible she was hailed by the Stamford Bridge faithful. The La Liga giants will reportedly end up paying £143 million for the Belgium international who had just 1 year left on his Blues deal. On top of that, she received plenty of support for recouping a tidy £175 million by shipping out a variety of flops from David Luiz to Alvaro Morata to Oscar. Just like Abramovich, Marina Granovskaia opts for privacy over publicity. Her only projection was through the heavily restricted portal of the Chelsea club website. But Granovskaia was a key part of Abramovich's real inner circle for the best part of 2 decades, through his entire Chelsea reign. Initially as an assistant at Sibneft, the oil conglomerate which helped turn Abramovich into an oligarch and one of the world's wealthiest men. Then, following the 2003 purchase of Chelsea, as the head of his London office, although initially unconnected to the club. But over time, that changed. The schoolgirl grey mouse, as described by a former teacher, has made herself one of the big beasts of the footballing jungle. Granovskaia, who has both Russian and Canadian nationality, might have come to London as a fixer for Abramovich, looking after the ex-owner and his guests. Her ability to network, though, was clear. However, when Abramovich was forced to sell the club following government sanctions, the writing was, perhaps, on the wall for her. Her opinion always seemed to count. Granovskaia might not have had a football background, but Abramovich trusted her to tell him the truth and backed her judgment. So it was that Granovskaia who persuaded Abramovich not to ditch Didier Drogba after he blew a gasket during the 2009 Champions League semi-final defeat to Barcelona, when many in the club felt they had to get rid of the Ivorian. To go all in to land Fernando Torres from Liverpool 2 years later, smashing the British record with a £50 million fee. And to leave the past in the past and rehire Jose Mourinho, 6 years after the relationship between the club hierarchy and the special one had broken down. By then, Granovskaia had been elevated to a place in the club's elite, a member of both the Chelsea plc and football club boards, with special responsibility for transfers, contracts, loans and the academy. That appointment brought a change in club strategy, a marked one from the early days of Abramovich's reign, when an asking price for a player seemed nothing more than a number, with Chelsea viewed by their rivals as something of an easy touch. Instead, Granovskaia brought in the same financial approach that Abramovich would have demanded from his other businesses. Touch no more. Instead, utterly determined to pay the right price, or simply walk away from the table. Now, as far as Chelsea is concerned, when Abramovich was the absentee landlord, and even more so, when sporting director Michael Imenolo departed in 2017, she became the power and the glory. She was the woman who ran the club. And, considering her role and responsibilities, almost anonymous. A face, frequently in the background, not a voice. At least in public. But, it was different behind the scenes, where it mattered. The foreign languages graduate from Moscow State University became fluent in the lingo that counts in football, cash and cachet. No key decisions took place at the club without her consent. Yet very little is known about her. Yes, she is fluent in English and other languages, although it is claimed that, if she loses her temper, she chooses to swear in her native tongue. Apparently too, her favorite restaurant is Knightsbridge Eatery Sumasan Twiga, the brand founded by former Benetton later Renault F1 Formula 1 team principal Flavio Briatore. Sumasan Twiga supply Chelsea's VIP executive boxes with food and head chef Bubker Belhit described her as an amazing person, adding, "She's on top of any small things to the biggest thing." Even so, Granovskaia preferred to stay in the background. In October 2018, When Chelsea launched their campaign against anti-Semitism at the Westminster apartment of then Commons Speaker John Bercow, Granovskaia let Bruce Buck take the lead for the club and did not speak publicly. Instead, she smiled and greeted the invited guests, but made nothing more than polite small talk. It is the way that Chelsea's true elite have done business since 2003. They only talk, seriously, to the people they want to talk to. Granovskaia showed that by adopting a hardline approach to negotiations. And that went for her employees too. When Antonio Conte began to use his press conferences to publicly absolve himself of responsibility for the club's decline in his second season, it was Granovskaia who made it clear to the Italian he would be the fall guy. Chelsea's summer of equivocation over who would replace Conte was a rare occasion when it seemed Granovskaia was less than sure-footed. But Maurizio Sarri knew he was being judged by her the moment he arrived at the bridge. And who would be his executioner if his head was required? Marina became the one who wields the knife. And in the end, she negotiated another excellent deal on Chelsea's behalf as Sarri joined Juventus. Initially, Granovskaia wanted the Italian giants to pay around £5.3 million for their manager's services. That then dropped to £4 million before finally all parties agreed on a deal somewhere lower than that. Surely that saved Chelsea millions in compensation, should they have sacked Sarri, a man who fans wanted out, in the close season? Miraculously, Granovskaia made money instead. Abramovich might have been the money behind the operation, but Granovskaia was certainly the business brains. She could be a big miss for the club.